Hey, what's going on, guys? John Fibonacci here. Look, today I want to go over how to read a book. So, some people still don't know how to read a book. That's okay. It's nothing to be ashamed of. In school, they didn't really teach you like how to read a book or really what to do or really much of anything. And that's a lot of the reason why I make a lot of these videos. So I'm going to keep it short and brief, but this is how I would read a book, and this is how I would recommend to read a book. So the first thing you do when you have a book is you want to go through the outer jacket, if there is one, or the first couple pages where it has the list of chapters and subjects. Okay, so in other words, preview and skim. Before diving into the text, take a moment to preview the material. Read the title, author's background, and any blurbs or summaries to gain an understanding of the genre and purpose of the book. Additionally, skim through the table of contents, headings, and key passages to get an overview of the main ideas and identify relevant sections. So you want to familiarize yourself with the material. You need to know what you're going to be reading about. And there you go. Also, engage actively. So approach reading as an active process rather than a passive one. Actively interact with the text by asking questions, making connections, and challenging the author's arguments or ideas. This will help you stay engaged and improve comprehension. That's why we read. Okay, we read for comprehension, to learn new things and new theories and ideas. So you if you read a lot, you will get to the point where an author will challenge something that you believe, and this is a good thing though. Okay, because maybe some things that you believe you might think are the truth, but they might not be. You know what I mean? And it's always a good idea to be open for learning new things. And so yeah, it's always going to be beneficial to be open for interpretation of what they're teaching, and hopefully to learn new things. All right, this is a huge one, and I've already put out a video on taking notes. So you definitely want to make sure that you take notes. Actively taking notes while reading to enhance comprehension and retention. All right, this is going to be a big one, and this is also a recent video that I've put out. Take notes. Actively take notes while reading to enhance comprehension and retention. Summarize main ideas, write down key points, and jot down questions or thoughts that arise. Include page numbers and sources for reference later. Underline or highlight important sections if it's your own book. Avoid writing in library books or rented books. If your goal is to learn new vocabulary, write down the terms and their definitions on flashcards. So yes, I am a huge advocate for highlighting and taking down notes. I've shown you guys that before, and I will show you as well in this video. All right, so here's an example from Massimo Pigliucci's How to Be a Stoic. Okay, easy, where I highlight a certain text, or sometimes I'll take a pen and I'll underline, and it's just as good. Process and reflect. Pause periodically between main ideas or chapters to process the material. Review your notes, assess the author's bias, and question the text. Connect what you read to your existing knowledge and personal experiences. Take the time to understand your emotional reactions and consider why the text affected you in a certain way. So again, this is, for retention and for learning new things. Okay, you have to take a moment, you have to process and reflect. And I would even go as far as saying reviewing your notes later on the next day, maybe the next week, or maybe once a week, or something to that effect. Guys, I have a binder dedicated to notes specifically that I've taken on books that I've read. And that is a powerful binder. So much information is in there, but it's condensed information. So that's what it is. It's main points, highlights, quotes, and things like that. So that's how I'm able to, elevate in understanding and stuff like that. Make reading a focused activity. Find a quiet, well-lit, and distraction-free environment for reading. Turn off electronic devices to minimize interruptions. Ensure that you are well rested and not hungry, as these factors can affect your concentration. Settle down in a comfortable spot where you can fully immerse yourself in the reading experience. So if you follow me on Instagram for a long time, you guys know that I've shown many instances where I'm reading outside by the lake or at a coffee shop or at a restaurant with, the noise canceling headphones. Okay, so I do that to leave my house because there's a lot of distractions here, like the computer and everything. So I go outside, go somewhere else to be in a distraction free environment. And those headphones help me, eliminate outside noise so I can concentrate on what it is that I'm reading. So make reading a focused activity. All right, and for your notes, don't read for speed, read for comprehension. All right, I can't stress that enough. Don't read just to say you read or just to tell me like, oh, John, I read this book or whatever. Okay, that's great, but what did you learn though? Because if you read and don't learn anything, it was pointless. Okay, don't read for speed, read for comprehension. If you don't like the book that you're reading, find another one to read. So if you're, let's say 25% of the way or a third of the way through the book and you really just don't like it, if you're struggling to get through it, if you haven't learned anything, then simply just put it down and go pick up another book. All right, get another one. Good books are worth reading a second and third time, maybe even more. So I know Trading in a Zone, I've read more than once. Meditations, I've skimmed through dozens of times. And other books I've read more than 2 or 3 times as well. And that's what some people recommend. Some people say that you shouldn't read, 100 books. You should read 5 books, X number of times, the same books over and over again. So I do believe that to some degree. I think my belief is probably somewhere in the middle where you should reread good books, but you should also branch out and find new books as well. If you think you're not a good reader, all you got to do is practice. Okay. Start small. They got short books. They got small books. You could even start with books that you can read like 1 page per day, like the Maxwell Daily Reader or the Daily Stoic, something like that, where it's just simply 1 page per day. And so with that being said, if you are a new reader or beginner reader, then if it were me, I would start here. I would start with the Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman, and I would start with Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Now, both of these are Stoic philosophy related, so it might not be your thing or whatever, but it's been very beneficial. No one's ever told me I didn't like Meditations. Like that's never been said to me. So I've only gotten positive feedback from Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And I have both of these. I go through these often, and I go through the Daily Stoic at least 5 times per week. So it's 1 page per day, and there's a journal to go with that as well. And I will link the books in the description below the video. So if you guys want to help support the channel at no additional cost to you, you can get these books off of Amazon in the link in the description. And that's going to be a wrap for this video. So thank you guys so much for being here. If you got value out of today's video, drop a like. I would greatly appreciate that. If you're not subscribed already, then you can subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss future content. See you in the next one.